Hello, my name is Dave Pollard and I'm the Education and Outreach Manager at Spaceport Cornwall. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about who we are, what we do, and what our plans are for the future, but also give you a little bit of background about how I came to work within the space sector and what you may be able to do if you want to work in the space sector in the future. So I'm going to share a presentation with you now, and it's going to start with a video about who Spaceport Cornwall are and what we're planning to do. So hopefully that gives you an indication about what we're planning to do. We're hoping to launch from Spaceport Cornwall in 2022, and we'll be launching satellites into low Earth orbit. And I wanted to next give you some stats about the space sector locally. So in the last 12 months, there have been over 5,000 jobs in the space and aerospace sector in the UK. In the last year, the amount of job postings have increased by 57% UK-wide. So it's a quickly growing sector. The Southwest was the third highest area nationally for the amount of space and aerospace jobs advertised. And the average salary in this sector in the UK is £40,000. Most jobs require a degree level qualification, so 62% of the jobs advertised last year required a degree level qualification, but there are also other routes in, like apprenticeships, and I'll touch on to these later in the presentation. The top 5 requested skills that were looked for within jobs within the space and aerospace sector were things like teamwork, project management, budgeting, stakeholder management, and systems engineering. But really that whole engineering field is a really important one for us and our sector. So now I thought I would move on to me who I am and how I got into doing what I do. So I'm the Education Outreach Manager, and that involves doing talks like this, but also involves working with the schools, the colleges, the universities to make sure that course provision is there. As we progress over time, to make sure that the jobs that we have coming up in the future, we're able to fill those with local young people who have the skills necessary to fill those roles. So we're in talks with some of the colleges and some of the universities at the moment around course provision, but also around setting some of the students who are on specific courses projects, so that they're able to get a little bit of experience in the sector and see if that's something they want to do. About myself, so I'm Cornish local. I grew up in Porteleven. I went to Helston School and College. I studied at college. I studied A levels, and I actually failed all of my A levels in the first year. So the A levels are split into A levels and AS levels. And when I got into college, I just didn't work very hard. I became of an age where I just enjoyed life too much and didn't put enough effort into my education. So I actually failed my AS levels, and that was one of the worst days that I've had. But picked myself back up, chose some different A levels and dropped back a year and went again. And I ended up doing well in my A levels. So I studied business management, psychology and sociology. Then I went to university to study business management. And then after that, I've worked within the education sort of field over the last decade. So working with schools and working with different university groups to speak to students about their opportunities. I started working for Spaceport Cornwall about 6 months ago. And that's really through the work that I'd done with this with the space sector in previous roles, and they were well aware that I was interested in working with them. And I'd say that's quite important for you to do. If you're interested in a job, let them know that you're interested in it, because if they like you and they think you're good, then they will try and work with you to help you get in there in the future. I wanted to add that in about my education, about failing my AS levels, because being resilient and being able to bounce back is really important. We're all going to have times where we maybe don't perform as well as we should. And really, it's great. I'm hoping that'll be good motivation for you guys to sort of work hard at your education in school and at college and whatever you go on to afterwards. This is a famous quote. So if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I really love what I do, and I don't feel like I work hardly any days really, because I really enjoy everything that I do. So I just thought that was a really important quote to add in. So what's the opportunity for you? We're talking about jobs locally, and we're not talking about astronauts, which is what everybody thinks about when you come to talk about space, but we're more talking about things on the other side of this page. So sort of spaceport operations, spaceplane and rocket systems, payload integration, propulsion systems, also aerospace engineers. Engineering's in short supply everywhere, and we need engineers to solve our problems and to build our world's products. Also talking about downstream application developments. So these are, what do we do with the data once we've captured it? What commercial products can we make? So for you guys, routes into the sector, there are a few apprenticeships starting to open up. This is an apprenticeship, a space engineering technician apprenticeship that has been launched by Airbus. And we're looking to advertise our first apprenticeship vacancy in about a month's time on the administration side of things. So an apprenticeship is one way in, but as I said, sort of 62% of jobs last year were needing a degree level qualification. So on the other side of this page is the UCAS website, and the UCAS advertise all of the university jobs. So here are some that I found that I thought were quite appropriate. So looking at aerospace engineering, space science and robotics is a really growing field. Also aerospace engineering with space technology. And then on that downstream side, sort of web application, mobile app development, and web design and development. It's a really exciting field. If you are interested in jobs in the space sector, you can look at spacecareers.uk, and there's 70 jobs currently advertised there. And then you could work backwards to see what's needed. That's a very, very quick introduction to who we are and what we do, but I hope that gave you some interest. If you are interested in the space sector and working in the future, I would really suggest following some of the space organisations on social media so that you can stay sort of abreast of what's going on in the sector. So people on the bottom of the screen there, so Spaceport Cornwall, Virgin Orbit, Goonhilly Earth Station, the UK Space Agency, Sky, Aurora, all organisations that would be worth following. Thanks very much for your time.